Hey guys, welcome back to the range. Today it's a nice rainy day, so we get to be underneath the shelter here. In today's video, we'll go over 3 different types of ammunition that I'm considering for competition in 2 different guns. So the guns for this test obviously are going to be 5.8 Alpha, the P320X5 that I use in competition, the 9mm, and then also we'll go ahead and take a look at this Ruger Mark IV 22/45 Light. And we'll start the tests off that I would like to do with the 22 ammo first, and I have a couple of different kinds of ammunition here. The first one is this CCI. It's made for suppressors, 22 LR, obviously. And obviously I don't have a suppressor on there, but I do like the idea of the low velocity and potentially the lower recoil effect. And these are the 22 long rifle subsonic hollow points. The other one that I have is from Federal, American Eagle. It's a 45 grain bullet, same as the CCI. And its muzzle velocity is 970 feet per second, but this is not a hollow point and it's a copper plated solid bullet, but also made for suppressors. So basically I just want to see if these cycle pretty good and if the recoil is nice and if I can actually maintain pretty good speed with this. I had some problems with the Norma Tac-22 ammunition. I don't know what it is. It's basically the same velocity as these, and I thought I'd really like it. You know, they tout it as a good competition round as well, but in the semi-auto, the Ruger Mark IV that I have, it doesn't seem to cycle that well or eject. I mean, usually I can get a round in the chamber, but ejecting it, usually I get some stovepipes and things like that. I'm wondering if it's probably that grease coating that they put on the rounds on each of them to increase the lubricity, supposedly. But, you know, maybe that kind of ammunition is better suited for bolt action rifles, or maybe the 1022 Ruger rifle or any other semi-auto rifles out there, but I haven't tried it in those yet. I also know that I never had any major issues or any issues that I can think of using the Norma Tac-22 ammunition in the Walther P22 22LR pistol that I had. So anyway, let's go ahead and give these 2 ammunitions a shot. And I'm not really going to do any kind of accuracy test. Pretty much I would say, you know, in all of my other accuracy tests they're pretty good, especially at short range out of a long barrel like that. I mean, I'm not going to be shooting long range with these, so we're going to assume that the accuracy is pretty good as long as you don't move the muzzle. Basically, what I want to do is just try to get some good tests on recoil management and speed on these steel challenge targets that I have set up. Okay, and then the third ammunition that I'm going to be testing today for the 5.8 Alpha SIG P320X5 9mm is this Federal Syntech Ammunition. Obviously, Federal is the official ammunition sponsor of USPSA. They do have the logo on there. There's a lot of drama going on with USPSA, by the way, so I'm not really a big fan of all of that right now. But anyway, this stuff is the 150 grain. Everyone's probably aware of it if you're watching this and you're into competition, things like this. But this is the Syntech brand where they coat the bullets with a polymer coating. And basically, if we look at the other details of this here, we have, it's a 9mm, obviously, total synthetic jacket. That's what that polymer coating is, and 150 grains. And on the back here, we have the muzzle velocity of 890 feet per second. And you can see the rest of the data there in the table. But then let's look at the description here. So it does say in big words here, less recoil for faster shooting. Now that's something I want to check out, because the less recoil you have, the better it is to manage that recoil and increase your speed. Let's go over the details of the bullet. So you have the total synthetic jacket, and sorry, it's starting to pick up the rain here. Hopefully if I talk a little bit louder, you can hear my voice versus that background noise. So anyway, this eliminates the lead and copper fouling. Makes sense, right? So you don't have that bullet copper on your rifling. You have this polymer coating synthetic material on there. It reduces the friction for 14% cooler shooting and longer barrel life. Now that, you know, could be a good advantage, but you don't really, I have never really noticed that, to be honest, in any of my guns, that I would have shorter barrel life. But, you know, 14% cooler, okay, great, you have a cooler running gun. Less felt recoil for faster follow-up shots. So that's going to be good. We're going to definitely check that. I think I'm going to put the Mantis X10 as well on the magazine base plate to check out that. See how much reduced recoil you're actually going to get compared to the other videos I've made, especially with the 147 grain bullet that I'm really liking. And then it's a flat nose lead core bullet for less splashback and better energy transfer on steel targets. For that, obviously the ones that flip down that you have in USPSA, it's probably a good idea to have, right? When you have that flat face, heavy bullet, all that stuff. And also it's specifically engineered to meet power factor requirements, and the Catalyst high performance lead-free primer is on there as well. All right, so what I'm thinking right now is we're gonna warm up with a Ruger 22 LR here. We're gonna use the American Eagle from Federal right now as the first trials. 10 rounds here. Let's just go ahead and take it a little bit slow here on the small little target out there. I'm not gonna put a camera out there because of the rain, but just trust me on this. So we'll just keep one camera in here under the awning. Five shots. Real quick here, the ammunition that I'm using here, the Federal, does seem to have a little bit more of a recoil or felt recoil in my hands than I noticed with the Norma Tac-22. So it could be that velocity or the way that Norma manufactured their ammo to be really soft is not really maybe cycling the gun as hard to eject the shell. So that could be one reason why that ammunition is not working and this one is. So that's 5 shots. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of movement here. Not bad. I mean, I was kind of going at a slower pace, but okay, that's really good. And all right, let's try the CCI ammunition. Same muzzle velocity and everything, but these are hollow points. Maybe I expect more or less the same performance as the Federal, but let's go ahead and check it out. First, we'll do the 5 shots again, just to kind of get the feel for it. And I think I had the same feeling or impression as I do with the Federal. So I'm not really sure much more of what I can say about it. They feel like they shoot the same, just one happens to be a hollow point, one just happens to be a round nose. So basically pick your poison. Do you want a hollow point for maybe game, shooting, rabbit, squirrel, whatever, shooting out of the suppressor just for target plinking? What I'm thinking right now is that they're both very comparable. So far, obviously, they're both reliable. I haven't had any malfunctions, but let's go ahead and also do the sequence here. Didn't really seem to have any issues moving or anything like that. It just kind of took it slow. But yeah, I think I like that ammunition too. So now basically for me, it probably all comes down to price. You know, which one's cheaper, which one's more affordable to shoot a lot of. So basically I think they're both comparable. I can't remember what the prices are. I think one was $5.99, one was $8.99. Probably the hollow point ones were the little bit more expensive ones. So I'll probably just stick to the Federal ones maybe in a match or something, because right now I'm liking that a lot. I do have cheaper ammunition that I got from Walmart for 22 LR, and that's probably going to be what I use for the range, and then I'll just keep this nicer quality one for competition. It does have a lower velocity and seems to have a little bit less recoil than the target ammunition that I'm using now. Hey guys, I just thought of a really cool idea maybe just to kind of see what I think about the ammunitions here. So I have my typical Federal Auto Match ammunition from Walmart that I got that's really cheap. It's 1200 feet per second on the muzzle velocity, and I have this Federal one that I've been talking about all day, right? So what I did is that I randomized the ammunition in this magazine. I don't know what's in what order because I was not looking exactly at the mag. I was just kind of feeling the rounds and putting them in the magazine. So we're going to test it real quick to see if I really even notice a difference between a 1200 feet per second round and a 970 feet per second round. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. I'll just kind of shoot at one target here and go at a normal pace, I guess. Yep, so I did 5 rounds of each in a random order. And I definitely did feel a difference in a sharper recoil versus a softer, more lighter recoil. So definitely that ammunition here from Federal, the 970 feet per second, you can definitely feel a difference. All right, and now I just want to do some slow motion side-by-side comparisons of both the Federal and the CCI together. We'll just do 10 rounds. I'm not sure what to expect, and we'll just see how it goes with the setup that I have here with the compensator and everything else, okay? All right, so this slow motion test is going to be shot in 1080p, 240 frames per second. Hopefully that's going to be enough to kind of really slow it down and see how the muzzle rises, okay? Okay, first up, let's go ahead and do the Federal American Eagle. 10 shots. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and do the CCI. Okay guys, how did you guys like that slow motion? Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. I think the ammunition felt really good, but I haven't seen the slow motion video yet, so I'm talking to you from the future. All right, now it's time to get 5.8 Alpha out here for a little bit of exercise with the Syntech Ammunition. So we'll kind of do the same thing that we did with the 22. I'm just going to take 5 shots here just to kind of get the feel of the first 5 shots of this low recoil ammunition and see what I think about it, okay? Now that did feel like it kicked more. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm underneath the shelter house, but it did feel like sound like a bigger boom. So maybe that's just making me think in my mind subconsciously like, oh, that's got some recoil. But I don't know. In the hands, it wasn't too bad. So I'm not sure what to think about it. I think I'm going to need to do some more shooting and do a little bit of transitioning here, okay? So I forgot to put the Mantis X10 on there. Let's go ahead and do that so that we can get the actual Mantis X10 recoil data, and then we can go over that and see what the numbers, what they actually are as far as recoil comparisons. All right, just real quick, I did this off camera just to check. I just shot 3 rounds outside of the shelter house at a target, and actually it did feel like it was a little bit softer recoil than a 115 grain, for example. So I think we're onto something here. Okay, so I just installed the Mantis. We got the app started. Let's go ahead and do the recoil analysis here. I think maybe if I do 10 shots, that should be enough data to capture on the screen here. Well, actually that shows 11 shots, but in general I'm seeing that the muzzle rise is, you know, probably hovering around the 13 to 15 degrees, which doesn't seem too bad. I think, you know, that's in line with what I'm typically seeing with 115 grain, maybe 147 grain. I just have to go back and look at the data. So I'll put this all in the table and then go over it with you guys in a little bit here. All right, now it's time for the slow motion test. This is once again going to be shot in the 1080p 240 frames per second. And since I still have the Mantis on here, let's just take advantage and try to get more data for the recoil analysis, okay? So here we go, slow motion. So really quick here, I just want to show you guys some of the slow motion here. I have that black bar there just to kind of show you where the muzzle starts and how high the muzzle flips above that line. So you can see it's pretty much manageable and comparable to, I guess, to the 147 grain that I also use. Coming up though on shot number 5, after this shot, you will see that the muzzle really flips up high just because I had some limp wristing there. There it is. Wow, look how high it got. And then on shot 6 here, this was one of the best ones. It really didn't flip high as much as the previous shots. So that one was really controllable. So the ammo in general isn't too bad. And I'll show you guys more with the Mantis X10 data with all of the numbers. Okay, I think on that 5th shot, I had a weak wrist, so that muzzle flip, let's just double check and see how it looks. The last one felt really good, but yep, so that 5th one was 23.56. That's definitely my wrist being weak, limp wristing it, so I don't know why I did that, but at least I caught that, I noticed it, and the Mantis data actually showed a 23.56 degrees muzzle rise, whereas the rest of them were generally around 14, 15. Okay, so there you have it, guys. That's the slow motion. So here's all of the Mantis X10 data that I compiled together. A total of 16, or actually 17 shots. Shot number 16, I didn't really count because that was shot number 5 earlier in this video that had that really ridiculous recoil with me limp wristing. And I mean, even if I didn't include it, it would be about 5.99 anyway. So it's close anyways. So in general, just to speak to this data here, the numbers are really close to when I tested the 12 and 14 pound springs with each of my other ammunitions of 115 grain, 124 grain, and 147 grain. And you guys can see that video in my playlist as well. So a few other notes here: that recoil width is very small and the recoil angle wasn't too bad. I had a few large ones in there, but in general I felt like this ammo was pretty controllable. But overall, I think the 147 still has the better numbers as far as recoil angle goes. And the muzzle rise is also slightly better than this, although they are very close. The other one, when I tested 147 grain, was about 14.87 on average on the muzzle rise, and here we have 15.89. So about 1 degree difference, not really that much. Would I use it in competition? Probably. You know, I will definitely use up the rest of the box in a competition and see also how that goes. All right, there you guys have it. That is the ammo test for today. I hope you guys liked this video when I consolidated 3 different types of ammos and 2 different guns. Hopefully this video is a little bit more informative and that you get to see more of a variety than what I've been doing with just single ammunitions. Go ahead and look at the timeline to find out where you guys are more interested in and watch that. In general, I think all of these ammunitions are really good for competition, especially the CCI and the Federal for the 22 LR. It's a very soft shooting round and a very reliable round. It had no failures. And hopefully in that slow motion test, you can really see a really good difference in that and typical muzzle rise in some of my other videos with target ammo. With the Syntech ammunition, I also think it's quite good. The recoil wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it's also maybe not as low or improved or much better than what I would expect, I guess, for what they're branding it to be. As far as the 147 grain target ammunition that I'm shooting, that one shoots really soft and controllably as well. So is it worth the price difference? Well, maybe you make the decision. You know, it does have the Syntech coating on there to keep your gun cooler and cleaner, more or less. And then also, if we look at the Mantis X10 data, which I haven't really looked at it too much as far as comparing that with my previous ammo test, maybe there is a little slight improvement there. But in general, what I'm using is the 12-pound spring, and the muzzle rises, I think, from what I'm remembering, are pretty much the same. Now again, that might be negated when I talk about it earlier in this video. So in the end, I don't think you can go wrong with any of this ammunition. Go ahead and try them yourselves and see how you guys perform with it as far as speed and accuracy and all of that. If you guys like this video, go ahead and please click like and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like this video, go ahead and click the thumbs down button twice. Let me know also in the comments section what you guys think. Give me some feedback. Critical feedback is also okay. I'm also still learning. I'm not going to be offended. Obviously, I'm probably not going to do everything perfect on video here. But what I try to do is just try to give you a new, fresh perspective of what I think of different things. And hopefully you guys like that. We'll see you guys in the next video.